I'm hoping so. I think Sam Presti might have maybe learned his lesson from almost 15 years ago now.
Yeah, that's why you're in finance and I put stairs together. Young core, as long as the ownership doesn't mess it up, good pieces around them. They have like one or two veterans in key spots. Why not PSG for the next 5 years?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 70 on this July 10th. It's been a little while since we sat down and got one of the pods out, about a week and a half or so now, but that's kind of how the summer schedule pans out. So, yeah, but we did have a little bit of a long weekend this past weekend. Fezzy Boy doing a lot of traveling, a lot of activities and whatnot. So I'll kind of just throw it over to him really quick with a pretty jam-packed weekend. Let us know what you had going on this past weekend, Fezzy Boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. I know we were enjoying the time off. Got the podcast out a little late last week. That's my fault, but I guess this is the time to do it with not a whole lot happening. But we do have a good episode for you guys today. But before we get into that, like Sammy alluded to, I did do a lot of traveling. I think when we filmed the pod like a week and a half ago, it was right before I traveled up the next day, traveled up 5 hours, and then took the next 8 the day after that. Played a lot of golf. The weekend before I left, I played twice with a couple friends. And then when I got there, I literally got there on a Thursday, got to New York, in case people are wondering. I played with my brother and another friend and my youngest brother, 9 holes. The next day, we almost played in the morning, but we took it off because that was the first day that I really saw my wife again after 9 days of not seeing her. So I took that off.
The sacrifices.
But then Saturday morning, my brother and I played 9 holes together. And then Sunday morning before church, played 9 holes with a couple other friends and my brother. So a solid 4th of July weekend / week. Well spent. It was good to be home though, see everybody. Traveling sucks though. I drove both times, and the on the way back I was by myself, and I drove the whole 12 hours. That's a grind, dude. That is a grind. I hate it. But how was your weekend, Sammy? What'd you do?
It was good. Yeah, nothing too crazy. July 4th itself was pretty chill. Got some work done in the yard.
Perfect.
But it was really chill. We went out to other side of Pelzer, real small town vibes, to see some fireworks. Before that, we just grilled and stuff, and didn't have anybody over or anything. But yeah, just enjoyed the time. It was so nice, dude. I was like, I can't every weekend be like 3 days. Like that would be just perfect. Like you work 4 and then you're off 3.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But it was actually really nice and cool. Like that day, at least the night it was. Like we went out in the country per se. And the place we were is like 80 degrees, the little breeze. Like we were just sitting on the back of our truck, and it was like I wasn't sweating. Like it was real chill. So
awesome.
But yeah, it was a good vibe, and we did something Saturday, but I don't even remember what it was. So obviously it wasn't that important. But yeah, not quite as eventful as your weekend. But I was telling Fezzy Boy off pod, I was like, you better be getting good at golf. Because playing so much and everything.
I'm trying. I think I figured out my driver a little bit.
Take us into the vibes. Like, what's the vibes of these tee times and everything? Like, what are the best shots you hit? Like, take us into that a little bit. I guess
the first day I got there, I drove 7 hours, so I literally pulled up, got to the house, literally left within 30 minutes to get to hit our tee time. So I was shot that day. It was not good at all. We did a little 2v2 scramble that day. I was playing with my youngest brother, and then Jamie, he's my younger brother too, but he's the oldest of the two, was playing with our friend. They ended up beating us pretty good, but we came down to the last hole, and my youngest brother, who just got into golf, hit a couple of really nice shots to keep us in it. I think we only ended up losing by 2 strokes, but that wasn't too bad for just getting there. And then the next day I played with Jamie, and we were just keeping track of our scores. I ended up beating him by 1. The golf really wasn't that great, but we were both driving really good. And then the third time we played, again, I was telling you off pod, 2v2 scramble. with a couple of our friends. I was with one of our friends, and my brother was with another one of our friends who's really good. He plays in league, and he literally played.
That's pretty impressive.
Side note, this dude, the 2 weeks, like the week before 4th of July and the week of 4th of July, he played every day except for one day. Every day for one day. And I was just like, dude,
commitment.
I literally told him like that 2 week stretch, he probably played more than most people, like an average person plays like in 3 years.
Or 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my.
like I consider myself
That's
like an average
crazy.
Joe, like that just gets out every once in a while. And yeah, that's like literally like 11 times in 2 weeks, like, or
That's
more than
crazy.
that, 13 times. Yeah, it's insane.
I'm assuming he has like a membership of some kind, right? Like he's not dropping like 30-40 bucks every time he's going out. Like that's
Yeah.
some insane dough he's dropping if he's doing that. But
yeah, that's where we played. My brother has a membership at the same and when I say membership, everyone listening to this might be like, holy
country
cow.
club.
Yeah, exactly. But this is little back home, like backwoods country clubs. So like, don't think we got like they got like these like $2,500 a month memberships or whatever. It's like, I think it's literally probably like 600 for the year. No, it was like 400 for the year or something like that.
Wow.
So but still, it was a fun time. The best shot that I had, it was on the 9th hole that we were playing, and I just ripped a drive, and I drove the green on like a 300-yard par 4, and it was like pin high. Like, dude, if that went in, I would have quit golf forever. I just was like, I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
hole in one on a par 4, we're over. But nope, it was a good time. It was a good time for sure, and definitely itching to get out there and play. I need to hit the driving range so I don't lose my swing after playing that much.
Yeah, for sure. No, it sounds like it was a great weekend for sure, full of golf and good times. Probably a little bit cooler up there with the weather and stuff too.
Nice.
So, sounds like it was a good long weekend for you guys. Everything. I'm assuming Taylor's back now, finally, or
Yep, Taylor and the baby are finally back. So hit the ground running, super busy. Came back. HVAC was leaking through the ceiling, water damage. So it's great.
What
got
through the ceiling?
Yeah, so our HVAC unit, it might be like old. Like most of them are like in crawl spaces or on ground level. Ours is in the attic. So the drain line backed up, which meant all the water backed up into the ducts, and then all the condensation from the water sitting in the ducts leaked through the ceiling. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it was dripping through the ceiling in one spot, and I was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, that sucks. But I got that fixed today. So
did you have to cut out drywall and stuff, or no?
Probably to fix the water damage, but it's not super bad. There's one spot that leaked earlier that was really bad, but other than that, it's good. But
home ownership, we love home to hear ownership. It, so
welcome back.
But yeah, that was a little bit of a recap into our long weekend, everything. Good vibes all the way around, but we do have a jam-packed episode for you guys. Maybe not quite as packed as the last few weeks or months have been, but we do have some pretty notable off-season news to go over in the NBA. And then soccer actually has a couple tournaments that are kind of coming to a close here at the end. So we'll get into both of those in just a second here. Now that the Thunder are officially champions, I'm going to just remind everybody of that for the next, I don't know, year or so.
Until the next champion.
Until we win it again. Yep, for sure. So, just diving into a little off-season talk. Obviously, we recapped a lot of the major trades and signings that kind of went down. Not really too much has happened since then. There has been a couple signings, a couple smaller trades and things. But honestly, the biggest news coming out of the NBA is just the amount of money that the Thunder are now spending on the big three. Just in the last couple of days, they obviously already re-signed SGA a couple of days after the finals. He's going to be averaging about $65 to $70 million a year, but his official contract is 4 years, $285 million. Yesterday, they re-signed Chet Holmgren to a 5-year, $250 million deal. And then they also have Jay Will locked up as of today, 5-year, $287 million rookie supermax that's in there. So got about $750 million locked up in about 3 players right there. So, but our big three is intact. A lot of people online, I was like, oh, they're going to suck now. They're going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah. I was like, Yeah, because most teams when they re-sign their big three, they don't have a million jabillion draft picks still in their
Right.
back pocket after winning a championship.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried. But Fezzy boy, what do you guys say about us locking up our core here?
I mean, I think I texted you this the other day. We were talking about something else, something we'll probably get into a little bit later. But I just said like if they don't mess this up, you guys could really just like put together like championship wins, championship wins, championship wins. Like it's just amazing how smart Sam Presti is. Like you just alluded to it, like the amount of draft picks that you have to be able to like consistently put good role players around these guys. And they've proven that they can draft really well. I know you're high on the guy that they just drafted. I think he's European, right? No, the
Brooks
Celtics drafted him.
Barnheiser? No, yeah,
No,
that
but
was the
you
Celtics.
are high on a couple of the
A
draft
couple
picks
of
that you
guys,
guys
yeah,
picked,
for sure.
and they've just proven that they're able to find diamonds like in the rough. That they're able to find guys late in rounds, or jump on guys. I know Jay Will was kind of like he wasn't a projected lottery pick going into the draft, and then through some workouts, they were like, "Oh no, we're gonna get this guy at 12," and like we've seen what he's become.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, just the character that these three players have shown,
for
like
sure.
the money is not going to go to their heads. Like 1000%, it's not going to go to their heads. They're always going to work. They're always going to get better. They just want to win. And they
Yeah,
have that leader in Shea who's like definitely not going to let the money and the accolades go to his head.
better
So
not.
with your coach, and even if you lose some core players, you got some young guys coming up off the bench. And like I alluded to with draft picks, you got guys that can come up and fit right in. You guys are going to develop from within, and it's just like it almost like makes me think of like a well run like European football, like
Yeah,
like you know we draft really well, we develop really well, and through that, that's what keeps us competitive. Like we can re-sign all these guys for really really high contracts, but we can do that because we're not paying. We don't have to pay these other like role players so much money. Like you can stay within the cap or the soft
yeah,
cap, like under the luxury tax. But I think it's a great
right.
move, and I can see you guys just rattling off some pretty good seasons in the
Yeah,
coming years.
yeah. I'm hoping so. I think Sam Presti might have maybe learned his lesson from almost 15 years ago now. It's crazy, but after we
Yeah.
went to the finals, obviously not re-signing Harden, and then letting him or trading him to the Rockets shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget this, but the reason that he didn't stay on the Thunder was a measly $5 million. Which at the time was a big deal because the Thunder didn't want to get stuck in the luxury tax and blah blah
Right.
blah. But he might have been learning his lesson a little bit there, just locking these three guys up. And yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. That's your core right there. Obviously, SGA provides everything that you would want offensively, and he's still a defensive guy as well. Holmgren is your lockdown, paint protector, and then Jay Will is kind of your Swiss Army knife. And just the style that the Thunder play is like so plug and play. I feel like,
Yeah.
whereas like not only do we have like the culture where Sam Presti and our coach Mark Daignault have been able to instill like this hustle and like this lay it all out there for the whole game, all four quarters and everything. But it's also just like you don't need that much out. Like as long as you get the same kind of guys like an Alex Caruso, a
Yeah.
Cason Wallace, like all these guys that are kind of like the same style of player, just hustle guys, 3-and-D. I'm not saying that those guys are a dime a dozen, but like you can continuously draft guys that are similar to that play style and
Mm-hmm.
plug them around these three or four guys and still get really good minutes as long as they're the kind of guys that are going to buy into our identity. I think we're gonna be good for a long time, and that's why I like the Brooks Barnheiser guy so much. Like he's not going to
Yeah.
put up 25 points a game, but he's going to be exactly what Alex Caruso was. He's going to
Right.
come in, hit 2 or 3 threes off the bench, play incredible defense. He's going to hustle. He's going to throw himself into the fifth row of the stands, and that's gonna be his play style his whole career. And then we obviously got a couple other guys too that are coming up, but that's why I think that we're gonna be good for so long. Now that we have those three guys locked up, barring any huge injury, it's kind of a plug and play after that. So we'll see if
Absolutely.
we're able to kind of hold on to guys like Lou Dort who might want a little bit of a bigger payday. But again, we got other guys coming up, so
Yep.
I'm very 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 hopeful for our future going forward. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of a little bit of a rundown into my reigning champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Moving on to a couple other offseason signings here. The biggest one coming out of the last week or so is DeAndre Ayton going to the Lakers after
Oh
his
boy.
buyout. Obviously, everybody knew that the Lakers wanted a center. They were pretty quiet throughout the last 2 weeks when everybody was kind of trading and everybody was signing players and kind of going crazy. They were really quiet for the most part, but they do have their guy, even though he hasn't maybe not lived up to number one pick potential. I'd still say he's a solid center and a guy that will probably play really well, at least with Luca. Obviously, Luca plays really well as centers. But what's your initial reaction here about DeAndre Ayton going to the Lakers?
Yeah, when I initially saw this, I was like, I didn't really quite get it, but this is just a high risk, high reward type of move. Like, with the new ownership, I feel like they're just, they're trying to make something happen for sure. The Lakers have kind of just been in this like mediocre, like middle of the road. They'll get to a Western Conference Finals here or there. But other than that, it's just kind of been like lackluster, especially when you have LeBron on the team. Like, that's not what anybody really expects, even when he's 40, 41. He's still playing at an elite level. But yeah, just high risk, high reward. He's definitely a bit of a diva that everywhere he goes, there's kind of drama surrounding him. Doesn't seem to like to work, doesn't get along with other players in the locker room. So, I
Yeah,
mean, it's kind of like the Luka situation where it's like this player that's known for like kind of taking days off, not really, working hard as people like how people want to see him work hard. Like Luka's a little different. Like, Luka can put back like 3 or 4 beers and then like go out there and drop 40. So like it's like, well,
yeah,
we'll take that any day. Aiton's a little different where the production hasn't quite been there, but he has the
yeah,
attributes to be a really, really good player in the NBA. So maybe playing with LeBron and Luca, especially getting those easy lobs from Luca
yeah.
in pick and roll. Maybe that will help spur something on for him. So maybe he can turn around with the Lakers, and they need his
Yeah.
size for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you play with Luca as a center, there's really not much you really have to do. Like you
I know.
don't, I mean, just kind of chill into the basket and get out there on fast breaks and let Luca pass you the ball.
Absolutely.
Makes it pretty
Absolutely.
easy for him. So yeah, we'll see how he fits with the Lakers. I still think that the Lakers are like eighth, ninth, 10th best team in the West now. Like as much
Yeah.
as I love my boy Luca, man, like it's really just him as far as like what you would consider like a world class star out there. I know LeBron is still there, but I mean he's going into his year 41 now, so 21st NBA season I want to say. So
Hmm.
I understand he still can play pretty well, but I feel like there was definitely signs last year that he's a little bit closer to retirement than maybe even he would like to think. So
Yeah.
we'll see how the Lakers are able to put together a couple more pieces around those two guys and see what kind of success that they have coming up in this coming season. But another I guess minor trade, but has a big name in it. Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson got traded to the Utah Jazz in a 3-team trade. Norm Powell going to the Heat, and then John Collins going to the Clippers. I actually like this move for the Clippers quite a bit, getting
Yeah.
a John Collins. Maybe a little bit past his prime, but definitely a guy that can still contribute. They're a pretty strong team in an absolutely loaded Western Conference. Took a couple games off the Nuggets as well. So actually, they went all the way to 7 with the
Yeah.
Nuggets, so solid outing by them. But obviously, the biggest name in this one is Kevin Love going to the Jazz from the Miami Heat. He tweeted shortly after he was like, "Wow, I never really thought I'd become a math equation in a trade or something like that." So, not really sure if he saw himself retiring in Miami or what, but
Hmm.
the signs are there that he's probably going to get bought out by the Jazz. I can't really see him playing his
Yeah, I
last
saw
couple of
that.
years in Utah. So we'll see where he kind of ends up. But what is your initial reaction here about this relatively minor trade, but with a big name here?
Yeah, I mean, this is just the season of just like I wouldn't say weird moves, but like people you wouldn't think would be on the move. Definitely just like switching teams and stuff like that. Obviously, like Kevin Love was saying, uh, not really like his preferred option, but like it's a business at the end of the day. Like you don't have a whole lot of say in a lot of things that go down. Uh, I don't have really too much insight on this. Like, uh, who do you think won it? I guess I'll just toss it back to
I don't
you.
know.
Who?
I I want to say it's the Clippers, just because what I was saying earlier with John Collins, they get They get a good rim protector that can also provide you a little bit of something on offense for sure. I think the Heat are kind of in rebuild mode. They
Yeah.
traded Duncan Robinson this past week as well, so
Mhm.
looks like they're just trying to get off some contracts. Obviously, they got rid of Jimmy Butler last year, so they might be in full blown rebuild mode here, just trying to shed some contracts and
Yeah.
just kind of maybe try to build through the draft and see what what kind of talent they can get. The Norm Powell. Getting Norm Powell back is, that's a non-starter for me. Like, he was okay on the Clippers. He seemed to really be enjoying that new bigger role that he had with the Clippers now that
Yeah. Mhm.
it was just Harden and Kawhi there, and he seemed to really thrive there. But I guess maybe he wanted out, maybe he just was on the bad end of it, like you were saying, a business deal. But I guess
Right.
if I'm gonna pronounce a winner, I guess it would be the Clippers. But the Jazz just seem like they're that team that just like trades with
The
everybody
Jazz.
and they just stay in the bottom of the NBA with no like real, like, once they do have like a kind of a prospect, they trade him away like
Right.
immediately. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Except for Ace
But
Bailey.
yeah, you're right.
Who doesn't want to be
Yeah,
there anyways? So.
yeah, but that's the Jazz. That's so the Jazz. Like,
It's so the
of course,
Jazz.
it would be the Jazz to take a player that doesn't even want to play for you in the top 5 of the
Yeah.
NBA draft. But
I really hope Walter Clayton does something for them. I would love to see Walter Clayton play really well in the NBA,
yeah,
which I think he will. I think he had like a really good game in summer league the other night. I didn't watch it. I just saw his stat line. I think it was like 20 plus
interesting.
points. Played really
Okay.
well.
Yeah, he can fill it up for sure.
My
As soon
last
as he
question.
gets good though, he'll get traded though. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. John Collins, where did he play college? I'm trying to remember this. I think I remember
Wake
we watched him.
Forest.
Maybe we didn't. How old is he? I feel
Don't
like
ask me how I just pulled that out of like nowhere,
just
but I'm
out of
pretty
nowhere,
sure.
absolutely just sniped that.
Yeah, Wake Forest.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. He was playing for
That is
Atlanta,
pretty
wasn't he?
crazy.
He played for
Yeah, he was
Atlanta
on
for a little
Atlanta
bit.
for a long while.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, that's wild. I felt like we watched him in college. Is he?
yeah,
Is
he was there
that
15
old?
to 17. So
15 to yeah, we did. That's crazy. I don't remember Wake Forest though, so I was definitely like I had no clue.
Yeah, I
That
think
was
he
a
only really had
crazy
like
snipe.
one good season there. I don't think he played much his first year. So I don't know.
Gotchas. All right. I was just trying to remember because I was like, I swore I watched this guy in college. I did, but I had no idea that it was Wake
Possible.
Forest. So good old ACC action going on. Let's go.
Yeah, you might have recognized him putting up some good numbers against
Dunking
your
on
Syracuse Orange.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but moving on to another re-signing, Paolo Banchero gets a 5-year, $287 million contract as well, taking advantage of that rookie max, very similar to Jay Will. I do like Paolo Banchero a lot. When the draft came around, and it was kind of the Thunder, I think they were picking second or third, I want to say. I was really hoping that we would get Paolo instead of Holmgren at the time, and I was like, man, I really don't want him. He's going to be, injury prone, all this stuff. And he did actually end up, tearing his Achilles or his ACL his first year. Holmgren did. But obviously Presti knows what he was doing, and just obviously Holmgren fits into that team way better than Paolo Banchero would. So Banchero wouldn't have brought the defense, and he would have been trying to contribute a little bit more offensively than Holmgren would. So, and that's something that we didn't need. So, but congrats to him. I really like him as a player. He's kind of been the vocal point of a Magic resurgence here. Obviously they haven't made it super far, but better than past Magic years for sure. But last couple of things we'll touch on here in the NBA is just a couple weird stories, I guess. First one being Jonas Valanciunas. We were on here talking pretty praisingly, if that's even a word, about his the fact, I guess it was the fact that the Nuggets flipped Dario Saric for him, a guy that's playing basically no minutes for a very serviceable center. It's going to get you like 10 and 8 on 15 minutes kind of thing. But there was a report that came out last week that he has been in talks about possibly signing overseas with a Greek team, Panathinaikos. Very, very weird situation here. He is still contractually obligated to the Nuggets. He still has like 2 years on his contract. So the Nuggets would have to either buy him out or let him out of that contract. And then at the same time, like in my mind, it's like, this is the first time you've actually really been on a contender in your entire NBA career, and you want to jump ship and go play in the Euro League. Like, I get he is European. He's from Lithuania, but I don't know. The pieces just weren't adding up there. I guess I just want to get your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can get if the guy doesn't want to be a backup to Jokic, like if he doesn't want to be a backup at all. But like you're right, he is on a team that is like looking to contend for NBA championship. And then he's just like, nah, I'd rather play overseas. I'd rather be the guy on a European team. And I get he's European, so maybe he's kind
Yeah.
of done being in the States like Jokic. I could see Jokic pulling something like this when he wins another championship and he just goes, yeah, a couple more MVPs, another championship, I'm out. I'm just gonna go play in Serbia for the rest of my career because I just
Maybe.
want to be at home. But yeah, I saw that like he's got to go through like all this like red tape to like get this to work. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
uh, the Nuggets have to say like, yeah, that's fine, but you have to go get a
Mhm.
letter from the league saying that they're going to
Which the
terminate the
Nuggets aren't
contract.
going to do because they just traded for
Just
him.
trade
Like,
it
they're not
for
going
him,
to
right?
let him out of his last 2 years of his contract.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure you're gonna make millions of dollars staying in the U.S. playing behind Jokic. Like he'll end up doing it. I just don't understand like the giant pull to want to go play in Europe so much. I mean, I
yeah,
get he's old, getting to the end of his career, but I don't know.
yeah. Apparently, it kind of would have worked out for the Nuggets because if they didn't have to pay him, they probably would have gone after Al Horford, which isn't like a terrible backup option there.
No,
But yeah, I don't really get it either. Like, besides the fact that he would be playing in Europe, which is obviously a lot closer to home, and now he's a little bit older, he may just want to just go over there. But again, from on the flip side of that, you're going into he's going to be 33 this season. Like,
yeah,
why would you not want to come off the bench 10, 15 minutes a night, back up the best player in the world, and
yeah,
possibly go get a ring at the end of it? Like, that sounds like a pretty good, close to retirement option for me, but
right.
that's just me. So, yeah, I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
man. I don't
Like
know.
you said, more than likely he will end up staying. On the Nuggets, just seems like there's too many hoops to jump through for him to go play in Greece. So, more than likely we will see him in a Nuggets uniform next season. But the last thing I wanted to touch on is just a little bit of not a weird thing, I guess, but we did talk about the KD trade, him going to the Rockets last pod, but that trade officially became official this last couple days, and it actually included a record 7 teams.
That's wild.
Like 30% of the league was involved in this in this trade here, basically. Mostly second round picks and just like filler players that probably aren't going to see much of the court. But yeah, everybody seemingly wanted in on this KD trade that, like I said,
Apparently.
officially became official this last week. I guess I'll get your 2 cents on how you think KD. Obviously, we touched on this a little bit last episode, but how KD is going to fit in with the Rockets here with this 7-team trade now going down.
Yeah, I think he's obviously plug and play. He's been a mercenary for most of his career now. He's played in multiple different offenses where he's the guy. He's the guy on top of like ball movement, like Golden State, with like a secondary scorer, like a great secondary scorer in Steph Curry. So he's definitely played in systems that are like this. Has a great relationship with Ime Udoka. So that's already something that he has going for him. But just wild, dude. Like, so this is the thing. I'm trying to like learn more about like the NBA and like the actual financials and like trades and stuff like that.
It's a
Like,
lot different than the other leagues.
it's so different, man, and it is wild. Like my head will be spinning when I listen to like Wendy on like ESPN like talking about what all these guys like all these teams have to do just to get this one guy, and I'm just like, I don't understand. And then you got something like this record-setting 7 teams in on this trade. Like, do you understand it? Like so when there's 7 teams involved, so like you can't just trade with like 2 teams. Like you need something that another team has. So you give them something to give that up to like I don't know. I can't even
Yeah,
follow it.
so every team has to give up something and receive something at the same time. Like, you don't have
Right.
to give the other 6 teams something that you have, but each team has to give and receive at least one pick or one player.
Right.
So that's kind of how it works. And yeah, the financials have actually, and especially in the NBA, have gotten a lot more complicated over the last couple of years. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when, like, in 2012, for example, what I mentioned earlier, like the only thing you really had to worry about was like the luxury tax. Like all the smart market teams wanted to avoid the luxury tax, because you're
Right.
just paying a whole bunch of money for nothing. A lot of the small market owners didn't want to do that, but now there's like a first apron and a second apron, and there's a whole lot more regulations around like who you can trade and what you can trade for, and there's vet minimums and all kinds of all other regulations that are around those trades. And then that's a lot different from football too. Like we hear about the football business side, like these guys sign in like these $300 million contracts, but they aren't actually counting towards the cap because they spread them out or give them to them in a signing bonus. And then like the cap is way different. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting financials
Wild.
and stuff. But I kind of like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's why you're in finance and I put stairs together. Straightforward. Like that's what I do, man. That's what I do.
Hey, it's okay.
Dyslexic and the numbers just don't work over here, so it's all right. It's all right.
I listen to a business of sports podcast, so
maybe I should listen to it too. I gotta start learning.
Super interesting. He dumbs it down for people like us. So
perfect. You were gonna say people like you, and then you threw the S in. I know what you're saying.
No, I mean there's even a point for me where I'm just like, whoa, dude, like this is too much. But
that's the dream, though, to own a team, right, Sammy?
That's right. I'd love to work in a front office. That's the goal. Cool. So if anybody out there's listening from a front office, hit me up. So
perfect.
But yeah, that'll kind of do it for the NBA portion of the podcast. Obviously not too much going on the court right now, except for summer league. I do actually think Cooper Flag is playing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's putting up numbers on all the scrubs in the summer league. But yeah, we won't have too much going on. Like I said, on the court, but maybe there's some more offseason moves that we'll talk about over the next couple months. But yeah, a little bit in the just a barren wasteland right now as far as the NBA is concerned. But without further ado, we'll hop on over to the soccer portion of the podcast here in just a moment. Keeping it stateside for a little Gold Cup and Club World Cup talk. But before we dive into that, we had some very, very sad news coming out of Spain. Diogo JOTA, the talented winger for Liverpool, tragically passed away in a car accident involving himself and his brother who was traveling with him at the time. Absolutely earth-shattering news, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of one of those things that you always remember where you were when you first heard the news. For at least for me, like I always remember like that snapshot of like seeing the news from the first time.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are not aware, I think his car blew a tire as he was trying to overtake someone on the highway. He ended up going into the guardrail and his car burst into flames. Obviously him and his brother ended up passing away, but just kind of took the soccer world by storm. Obviously the days that led up to that, and then obviously the days after as well, just being a really, really sad story. A really well known soccer player as well. It's just it's rare. Sometimes you hear about players dying or things like that happening, but it's not a guy that you watch week in, week out that plays for one of the best teams in the world. A guy that's in his prime and everything. So obviously we don't talk too much about tragic things like this or political things or anything like that, but this is such a huge story that definitely had to mention it a little bit. And yeah, I guess I'll just give it over to you, Fezzi, before I give my 2 cents about the whole thing as well.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with you hear about players that pass away tragically or not tragically. Either way, it's just lesser known players, maybe in lower divisions in other countries. You still hear about it just because we follow so much soccer, but it doesn't really hit home because you didn't even know who the person was to begin with. But like you said, this was a well-known player on a very well-known team who just had a fantastic season under a new manager, literally won the Nations League with Portugal like a month or so ago. And the thing that made me feel so heartbroken was he literally 10 days before the accident, he got married. He got married, dude. The dude was on top of the world. And it just goes to show you how fleeting life is. Like 1 minute you're living your best life and you're with the people you love, getting married, winning football matches. I mean, he was even with his brother. I'm sure it was fun to be able to be with family during this time. I think you mentioned off pod or or whatever. He was heading to England probably for training camp, to report for training camp. But just um, how unfair life actually is. And I remember seeing this when I woke up. I was actually traveling home, and I woke up in the hotel, and it was the first thing I saw. And I was kind of in shock. Like, I actually like scrolled down like a couple times because it was like, this isn't real. Like, what's going on? This can't be real. So a little
Yeah.
bit in shock, and definitely the rest of the day felt very heartbroken. And just seeing all the different like memorials and kind words that people were posting on Instagram and on
Yeah.
social media. But yeah, it was definitely a tough thing to swallow for sure. And he will be missed. I'm sure the tributes won't end here. It will definitely be ongoing as the season goes on. And I saw that Liverpool is actually going to retire his jersey, so that's a cool gesture on their part for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's so weird because like obviously neither one of us knew him, and like for me personally, like it's not somebody that you know, but like
Hmm.
when you watch someone like basically every week and he's so a part of your world without like knowing him, obviously, like obviously you watch Liverpool week in week out. He was also
Hmm.
part of Portugal, who like I'm obviously a big Ronaldo fan, so I watched them and their recent triumph and everything. Like when someone like that dies, like it feels like it is kind of someone that like passes away. So it's always just a super weird feeling when that happens. And then,
Yeah.
just the days that follow too, like obviously my Instagram was littered with just tributes and all kinds of just really touching videos and things that like I'm not a crier, but like I got a little lump in my throat a couple of times just being like this is so sad, man. Like
Yeah.
the context that was given behind it too. Like he wouldn't have even been in that car like if he didn't have surgery this past summer. He couldn't fly, so he was driving to get a ferry, and it's just but on the I guess if there could be a plus side, like I think the way that his life ended was, he was on top of the world, but like his last two club games, he won the league with Liverpool and he won the Nations League with Portugal. He got married and then like he passed away with his brother, right next to him. So
Yeah.
if there can be, a plus that comes out of it, that's kind of how you want to go. Obviously, we hope that he was saved and he knew the Lord, just because we're Christians and we believe that. But yeah, I'm hoping that we'll see him sometime in heaven. But
Absolutely.
it is very sad to see a lot of the players that have had to play games since then, and then breaking down, particularly Ruben Neves from Al
Hmm.
Hilal. He was basically best friends with him, and just seeing like a lot of the videos of the Liverpool players and stuff being at his funeral and everything is just really really heartbreaking. So,
Yeah.
our
Absolutely.
thoughts go out to his family and everything. Obviously, his wife now having to be a widow, and he has 3 kids too. So think about them in this times as well. So, yeah. But moving on to a couple of the tournaments that are going on currently stateside. Obviously, we had a pretty good, exciting Gold Cup that has now come to an end, and a Club World Cup as well that has the final game on this coming Sunday. So we'll kind of try to bring up the energy a little bit here after a little bit of a sad start to the soccer portion of the podcast, starting with the Gold Cup. Obviously, we left you guys with the quarterfinal recap. Obviously, kind of some of the favorite teams, except for Canada getting through.
Tough.
We'll start out with the U.S. men's national team beating Guatemala 2-1. Obviously, everybody was all like, "Oh yeah, of course," like blah blah blah. But if anybody was watching the game, such as myself, I was concerned, bro. We
Yeah.
kind of got dominated by freaking Guatemala.
Yeah, man.
So obviously, this U.S. men's national team does move on to the final and gets through that team, but kind of got played off the field in the second half. If you ask me, I don't know if you agree, but I was sweating that one. We got lucky they didn't score till like the 80th minute there.
I mean, that's just like us in CONCACAF, bro. Like, it's just like us. Like, every year without fail, obviously this year we don't have to qualify, but every year we just find a way to make these games harder than they need to be. And I don't care if this is like, say what you want, our A minus, B squad, C squad, D squad, whatever.
Yeah,
Like, we should be beating these teams. And I wouldn't say handily just based on like the squad that we have, but it definitely shouldn't look like what we saw in this game. Guatemala just having most of the possession, passing around us, having their way, disconnection all around the
Literally.
field for the U.S. men's national team. I don't know, man. I was one of those guys that was super high on Poch, and I understand that he doesn't have the squad that he initially wanted, just with the Club World Cup and certain players sitting out. But it was definitely not great to watch for sure, and we'll get into the game after that as well. You know, we have things to say about that. But yeah, this was just a horrible showing by the national team. You know, and lucky to get through. Lucky to get through.
Dude, lucky to get through it. Like, we scored those 2 goals in quick succession, and we're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna roll
We
this
sat
team.
back.
And then we sat back, we got comfortable, like everybody just kind of like chilled. And like the second half, especially, bro, like you said, we got lucky, and like we got lucky that there was an extra like 5-10 minutes, because they were coming,
Yeah.
bro. Like they're wingers, and especially I was especially impressed with their striker, just kind of playing way above their level. And like you were saying, kind of agree with everything you're saying. Just I understand that, like, you know, it's our B, sometimes C level players in there, but like Guatemala is like literally the size of New York City as far as population is going. Like, how can we not, you know, handily beat a team? Like, obviously you're gonna have scrappy guys in, like, you know, the game starts out 0-0 from the beginning, but like, I don't know, man. We should be playing a little bit better against teams like that. But I'll leave like the U.S. men's national team like as a whole, and like a kind of a recap after we recap the final game. But the U.S. men's national team do move on to the final game against Mexico team that beat Honduras 1-0. Really not much to add as far as this Mexico Honduras game is concerned. Mexico just kind of, you know, just unflashy, playing efficient soccer, just kind of reigning supreme there in that game. Just the train churning on, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Not super impressive, but they definitely had more chances, more possession, more shots. Like, it just really wasn't in the cards for Honduras. But I was especially impressed with just the crowd. Obviously, we have so many Mexican immigrants here, but the crowd that Mexico brings for every game, I think, is really cool and really impressive and fun to see. And that was kind of the biggest thing coming out of that Mexico Honduras game. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see that one or not, but just a really impressive showing by Edson Alvarez and all the other boys in Mexico there in the semis.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with Mexico. Still don't like them very much. Obviously, whenever we play them, gotta beat them, gotta have it, and we'll get into that. But they're playing super well. Their new manager really has them playing. What it is in national teams is finding a manager. Like, you can't buy the players you want to fit a system. You have to find a system to fit the players, and that's where I think Poch is behind the 8 ball. Like, I don't think he quite realizes that yet, and our pool isn't anything to really get excited about at the moment. So that's the 2 cents on that. But I think Mexico is playing really well deserved win against Honduras. There was, again, some sleeper teams that got into like the quarters and semis. Obviously, the big upset. You know, Canada not making it further than everyone thought. So but props to Mexico. I think they're playing really well, and they're definitely a scary team. Like, it's definitely a good thing that, you know, we don't have to qualify against them for sure. Because again,
we were lucky not to face Canada, bro. They would have knocked us out like 3-0.
It would have been so bad if we played
But
Canada, dude. So bad. I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Side
No,
note,
like,
I was looking it up because I do know the striker from Guatemala. He actually played for the U.S. men's national team back in the day.
did he really?
Yeah, I remember the name Rubio Ruben, I think is his name.
Really?
I've watched him a couple times, but yeah, he was actually back in
Interesting.
like around, like, I think it was like pre 2018, like with the Clint and Landons and all them. He was kind of like a backup striker, but he played for us.
Interesting.
Actually, I
did not
think it
know
was
that.
after them. He was like the transition between like Clint and Landon to like this newer generation. You know, yeah.
Interesting.
So definitely
Yeah.
finding a spot with Guatemala for sure.
Yeah, and we'll get into the final game in just a second, but like, we'd love to talk about like the U.S. men's national team and like the media that comes with all that and everything. But bro, like, I was looking at some stuff after the U.S. beat Guatemala, bro, and I was like, they're just going on and on about like how this is so impressive, and like with this B squad, blah 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 blah. I was like, dude, you beat Guatemala. freaking Central European, like no disrespect to Guatemala, but like Guatemala, bro. Like, what are we doing
Guatemala,
here?
bro.
Like, and they always like compare it to like this is such good momentum for 2026 and World Cup
No,
this and World Cup
no.
that. It's like you beat a freaking like I was about to say island team. They're not an island team, but like bro, like this tiny country, like we're gonna get waxed by like any other
Yeah.
country in the World
And
Cup.
we did. We got waxed by Turkey and freaking Switzerland before this freaking tournament even happened.
Right, with the
Like,
same players.
do we just forget that? Do we just forget that?
Yeah.
And before that, like our original friendlies before that, when we had everybody like Pulisic and Anthony Robinson and everybody getting waxed by freaking Germany on home soil, like that should never happen ever.
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Anyways.
But we'll rant at the end of this portion here in just a second. But heading into the final, Mexico and the USA. Mexico beating us 2-1 after coming back. U.S. score really, really early with a Chris Richards header. I was hyped after that. I was like, 4th minute, boys, let's go. Yeah. Also, it's a complete side note, which is a little bit early for a side note in this game, but like, how stupid was it to let off those freaking fireworks inside of a domed stadium where the freaking first half was like all cloudy and like smoky the entire freaking half? But anyway, after we scored, Mexico absolutely dominated possession, had all the chances, looked way more confident, way more in form. Very, very impressive rest of the half by them, and really just the rest of the game. We basically didn't touch the ball the rest of the half. But absolutely dominant Mexico display. They did end up getting a tie. I don't think it was it 1-1 a half? I can't even remember exactly.
I think so,
yeah. But they get kind of a scrappy goal. Just kind of breaking the U.S. defense down and kind of making some of our guys move around a little bit more. Absolutely incredible finish by their striker. Jimenez, I was blanking on his name for a second there. He plays in the Prem, so he's obviously a pretty good player and everything. Yeah. Great finish by him. And then Mexico getting the winner in the 80-plus minute by an Edson Alvarez header off a set piece. That was another thing. Mexico had like 12 corners in this game, bro. It was just like corner after corner after corner after corner. And obviously this is something that they were really, really good at. They scored already like 4 or 5 goals off of corners in the tournament, which was by far the most. And we just like kept letting them get corners. Like, I understand you don't have completely control over that, but like they're gonna get one at some point. And like, obviously it wasn't a corner that they necessarily scored the winner off of, but again, it was a set piece that obviously do well with. But I guess I'll just get your thoughts on the game as a whole here before I kind of dive into some of the controversial things or the other talking points in the game here.
I feel like this is like a once a month occurrence where Fez just has to rant about how freaking frustrating it is to be a fan of this team. Like, bro, I understand it's Mexico. I understand Mexico has most of their players there. I understand that, they're playing well. But, like, guys, to be completely ran off the pitch after scoring early. And everybody that I heard talking about this was like, sometimes you can't score early. And that's what we did. Like with this young group, we scored early, thought we were flying high, sat back in our low block, and just took the pressure and let Mexico just run all over us. And that is no way to play soccer. That is no way to play a Gold Cup final. And it just goes to show you like what happens when countries care, like the Guatemalas, the Mexicos. I know Canada, they said they had everybody, and then Jesse Marsh kind of redacted that and said, oh yeah, well, we didn't have everybody, so not really sure what's going on there. But everyone took this Gold Cup seriously because you know why? Because a lot of these countries, Canada and Mexico included, have already qualified. And so it's like, well, we got to play meaningful games in a tournament setting anyways. So, just taking it seriously. Mexico already won the Nations League a few months ago, and that was with our A team. So we definitely have to worry about Mexico for sure now. Definitely the kings of CONCACAF as it stands right now. But it was just a poor showing all around. They had the fight, but this just shows you the difference between the quality that is sitting at home watching the Gold Cup because they decided to do that, and the quality that actually showed up and wanted to play. And this is the disconnect that we have. The quality we have doesn't want to show up, doesn't want to fight, but the players that do want to show up and
Literally
do
don't
want
want
to
to show
fight,
up.
yeah, literally don't want to show up. But the players that do want to fight, I mean, I love
Not
the
good
fight.
enough.
I love the fight, but the quality is just not quite there, and that's why you aren't normally called up to the U.S. men's national team. But I'm glad they got a chance to fight and really just, I hope, put to shame the guys that didn't show up. I was listening to a podcast today, and they interviewed Tyler Adams, and he was even making comments where I was like, bro, like, jeepers, this is gonna be talked about, because like he was taking shots at the players that weren't there. Like, he was saying, this is my
As you
first.
should.
He was like, this was my first Premier League season where I played like a full season, and he was just like, one of the guys was like, yeah, not showing up is wild. And he's like, yeah, for sure. And I was just like, whoa, this is gonna cost some stuff. But give him the armband, take us to the World Cup. Tyler Adams, yeah, I don't know, but it was awful. I just ranted for forever. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that as far as the game goes, kind of what you were saying, like us scoring in the 4th minute was the worst thing that could have happened to this team, just because they were almost like, whoa, we like scored first. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And they proceeded to literally just sit back for at least the rest of the half and just invite that pressure, let Mexico have all of the ball, which is like the worst thing that could have happened. And like, our defense is actually pretty solid. Like, I love Tim Ream back there. A lot of people are saying move off him because he's too old, but he's literally like our best defender,
literally.
outside of maybe Chris Richards. But like, when you invite that much pressure, like they're gonna score eventually. Like, it's proven true so many times. Like, no matter what level you play, when you invite that much pressure, like they're gonna score at some point. Like, whether it be a lucky bounce, whether it be just like a one shot opportunity, which Raul Jimenez had there, like, they're gonna score, which, like, that was ridiculous. And then after 1-1, like, it was kind of too late. Like, Mexico had all the momentum, all the confidence, all of like the mojo, if you want to call it that, and they were just kind of grinding through the gears and just kind of breaking down a US side that was already kind of on their heels from the beginning. So I thought that was kind of, just a really bad, like, maybe that was an experience, but like, you have this heralded, world class, quote unquote, coach on the bench. Like, he should be able to, like, rally the troops, get a game plan, like, even after you go up 1-0, which, by the way, that was like the luckiest freaking goal ever. Like, the ball, I understand it's a goal, but like, you bounced like 2 inches, like, across the line. Like, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't, it's still a goal. Like, I don't want to take anything away, but like,
Right.
I don't know. It was a little lucky, a little smash
It was
and grab.
cheesy. It was
yeah,
cheesy.
a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to actually, one of the 2 things that I wanted to bring up was 16-year-old Mora from Mexico, bro.
Dude.
Like, he actually burst onto the scene a little bit in the Honduras game. He was a starter in that game, and he was obviously a starter against us, bro. I could not, like, I'm not even saying this because he's like 16, but like, I was impressed with him even like regardless of his age. Like, he literally looked like not to like heap praise on him way too early, but he literally looked like Vitinha, like that style of player, like really good in tight spaces. Every single pass that he passed was like right on, and he played with confidence, bro. Like, he was like spreading the ball across the field. Like, I don't know if you remember that one where it was like, it just barely got to the midfielder and he ended up getting fouled and got a yellow card on the US. But like, just, he played with so much confidence. He was really, really impressive. They might have really special players on their hands there. But I also wanted to get your opinion on the handball, bro. Like, for those of you who didn't see the game, kind of a 50-50 ball. The Mexico player ends up with the ball under him, kind of as he's kind of falling down. Hand goes right on top of the box. Clear as can be, obviously, a handball, as literally as there can be a handball. Ultimately, it wasn't given. VAR went back and said it was unintentional. Did you agree or disagree with that handball in that moment? Obviously, Pacha is going to go post game and complain about it, obviously, because he lost the game. But what did you think about that handball real time?
I mean, I don't even know anymore. I understand the unintentional because it did look like he was putting his hand down. I don't think he intentionally tried to stop the ball. But at the end of the day, his hand touched the ball in the box. Like, whether it gave him an advantage or not, whether there were U.S. men's national team players around or not. I just think we've really just lost. I understand like not giving ticky tack stuff, but like something that blatant, like we just got to go back to like if your hand touches the ball in the box, you're getting a penalty. Like everybody knows that, and I just feel like we've gotten so nitpicky with VAR and saying like this is not intentional or trying to. I think we get like trying to read intent when you don't actually know it. That's where we start getting into like what are we doing? What are we doing? I think it's a penalty. I'm not just saying that because I'm a U.S. men's national team. Like I think Ponch is right. If that was in the other box, it gets called. Like I'm not saying the ref is biased, but I'm saying the ref is biased a little bit. I don't know, but I don't know. I just feel like that's a pretty blatant call that needs to be made. But I could be wrong.
I'm on the other side, dude. I had zero problem with that not being a penalty.
We never fight, Sammy. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't have zero problem with it. I feel like what you were saying about like the handball rule being weird, where I draw the line with intent is like, did it stop like a goal? Like if I'm on like the goal line, the goalie's out wherever he is, and there's a shot on goal and my hand is out way like, away from my body and it still touches my hand and I stop a goal, regardless of my intent, I feel like that should be a penalty.
Right.
But like with this, if you look at just how he's falling, like it's kind of a weird play where he's trying to get the ball and you look at his face and like his head, where it is, where the ball is. He has no idea where the ball is at that moment. And he's falling to the ground and his hand that he's using to plant, again, we're judging intent, but I really don't see how he could know that the ball is there. When he puts his hand down, he puts his hand directly on the ball, and then his head comes around and be like, oh, my hand is on the ball. So like, and again, I don't think that directly stopped a goal from happening. And just in the, the play that happened afterwards, yes, did he touch the ball with his hand? Absolutely. Like that's not even, you can't even debate that. But like in that situation, I had zero problem with it not being called, just because I don't think he even knows where the ball is. I don't think he intended to even be close to handling it. He's literally falling and he's just putting a hand down to like brace his fall, and the ball happened. And if you look at how the ball moves too, like he's falling and then like through like the 6 legs or whatever that are involved there, it kind of gets knocked right under him as he's falling. So he touches the ball, but like I had zero problem with them not calling a penalty there. Like I feel like it would almost be cheap for us to like, if that was the winner, I'd be like, dude, that's kind of a stupid way to like win.
Nah.
But obviously all the U.S. men's national team players and the coach and everything would be like, oh, blah, blah, whatever, because they're all a bunch of whiners anyway. But it is what it is. And I had zero problem with it. But I do think that the handball rule does need to be looked at quite a bit closer, just because I do feel like it's very just subjective, and it just depends on what the referee's preference on it is. And I think that it just, there's so many things that could be done better with the handball rule. But obviously Poch is gonna scream and complain about it, but that's kind of what he does, I feel like. So
I guess.
What?
I was just saying I would disagree, I guess, but yeah, you're welcome to your opinion. Fine. You're welcome to your opinion. Sure. We never fight on this podcast. Maybe that's why we don't get the views. People want drama and animosity, but we're always agreeing. That's why we started the podcast, guys, because we have the same ideas. Listen to the podcast, please. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, no, for sure. But anyone who didn't see that play, I'd strongly advise you to go back to it. And again, just if you've played soccer, like I can just see that happening and be like, anyway. To wrap up the U.S. men's national team portion, I'll just get your thoughts, Fezzy boy, on just overall feeling after the tourney, maybe the thoughts on next year, since this is basically the last competitive game that we'll have until the World Cup on U.S. soil, and Mexico now reigning Nations League and Gold Cup champs.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I was kind of saying that they're the kings of CONCACAF right now until further notice. And obviously, until
10 Gold Cups, by the way, to our
that's wild. 6, that's wild. So. I mean, I think we've been on record saying that like life's a little better when Mexico's good. So I can't be too mad it's better than the alternative where Mexico's just an absolute dumpster fire and imploding within. I just don't think that's good for world football when the rivalry's one-sided. But looking forward to next year, everyone needs to blow up the podcast so we can do some live stuff at the World Cup. I think about that all the time. That would be awesome. But
That would be
with that being said, again, it's hard to really take anything out of this camp knowing that, like, if we're being completely honest, there's like one, maybe two, maybe three guys out of this camp that will be at the World Cup for sure. There's a couple guys on the fringe. I guess the biggest thing that I'll take out is just that we got to see the pool as a whole. Like the fringe guys, we had, like, this is what this team was made of. Like the guys that like are up and coming, the guys that we've heard of, guys breaking onto the scene. Diego Luna really impressed, but other than that,
not in the final. He was a no-show.
Not in the final. Like, so it definitely, it shows who has it and who doesn't. I really like some stuff that we're getting out of Sebastian Berhalter, but obviously not enough coming to that final. Again, quality was just lacking. There's just like, so if we look at this, and you can do this with me, because I'm gonna have a hard time remembering. So the two guys that are definitely gonna be on the World Cup roster: Tyler Adams, Chris Richards, for sure. Fringe guys right now, Diego Luna. I would throw Ream in there just based on age. If he was younger, he'd be.
I think Tim Ream has to be on that squad
at this point in time, unless someone really solidifies himself next to Chris Richards. It's got to be Ream. I don't care how old he is. It's got to be Ream. So, but I would put him fringe right now, just based on his age. And then from there, it's like, who else? Like maybe a Jack McGlynn, like getting one of the last spots. Like,
nah, dude.
So
Jack McGlynn did not do anything for me in this
other than that banger
like
against, who was it? Turkey.
Yeah.
Other than that was it.
Whatever. That's a friend. I didn't see him anything in the competitive game. So
no.
I actually liked Max Arston quite a bit on the right back.
Yeah.
I like him as maybe like a bench guy that might be able to come in, just because we don't have a lot of depth, I feel like, on those outside wing backs. But Malik Tillman, I think for DP,
I think he'll be on.
I think he'll be on. He, by the way, he's going to Bayer Leverkusen. So
that is huge. Yeah, there's a couple
announced today.
Yeah, a couple guys are making moves. I know he's going to Leverkusen. Sargent's linked to Leeds, who just got promoted. So there's a few guys making moves.
Dude, where I land on the Tim Ream thing, like everybody wants to say, oh, he's old, we need to like look for someone else. Why do we need to look for someone else? Like, are we looking to win now or win in 3 years? Like,
exactly.
He's literally a starter in the Premier League right now. Like, why are we looking to discount him? And like, I mean, yeah, maybe, but like, he's still one of the best defenders. Like, who else is there?
He's not in the Prem anymore, Richards? Bro.
Tim Ream?
Nah, dude. He plays for Charlotte.
Tim Ream plays for Charlotte?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since last season. But I will say this.
I still think he's quality, man. Like,
no, he is. He actually took this deal. Fulham was going to re-up him for, I think, 2 more years. And
I didn't even know he went to Charlotte.
Yeah, he took this deal because he wanted to be, like, he's dragged his family all across the world. So this was kind of his way of being like, all right, I'm going to finish out my career in the States near family. That's why he took it. So you're not off. I was just like,
either way, I still think Tim Ream is one of the best defenders that we have.
It's only a year away. So. Like, the dude's only going to be like a year older. Not even like, no, I agree with you. I know there's people who are ready just to axe him and be like, well, put someone younger back there. No, you take the quality, you take the guy that's playing the best, and like, just put some more athletes around him. Yeah, he's not the fastest, he's older, but like, what he lacks in that, he's the only one in this group that is comfortable playing out of the back. Chris Richards isn't even comfortable playing out of the back right now. He can do it. He's athletic.
I don't think best at just getting those fly balls that are coming in the box out.
Dude, yeah. And I don't even think he's that good of a defender. Like, his positioning, he's just young and athletic. Like, that's what he makes up for it. Like, I think he'll be good in the next few years when he, like, figures out positioning and stuff. But yeah, I think Ream's got to be there. Like, if we're the only podcast out there saying that, it's got to be Ream.
Yeah. Yeah, and like he's a year removed from Fulham. Like obviously I got that wrong, but like he was still like a starter there basically
Yeah.
until the end. So he just kind of moved his age. One last player I wanted to mention though, Sebastian Berhalter. Like I was not as high on him. Like everybody was going crazy because he
Okay.
was a starter on a team that was winning some games against these Caribbean sides, but like and he has some nice set pieces. Obviously the goal that we had in the final, that was off his cross. Nice cross for sure, but I don't think he does much else that would really garner him a spot on the 26 roster. And I think that if we're talking about set pieces, there's plenty of other guys if we had our A squad there that can take set pieces like he can. So he's
Yeah.
not really a needle mover for me as far as that's concerned. I think he's playing a little bit more off his name than we'd like. But
Probably.
the last thing that I'll say is just again about the media in the US. Like we're on here all the time talking about it, but I was very just annoyed at them because like when Mexico beat us, like the whole post game was about America and how it relates to 26. Like
Yeah.
zero like mention of Mexico, what it means for them. It's all about us, even though we just lost the final. That's bad
Yeah.
enough, but like the whole time they're hyping this BC team up and everything, and then like when they lose or don't put on a good performance, they're still trying to lift them up and be like, oh, how does this relate to 2026? Like you can't have it both ways where it's both like a B and C team that doesn't really matter. Like I and in regards to this tournament too, like we're like, oh, well, we don't really care because it's not really our A squad. How much is this even really going to be a
Right.
precursor or whatever? Like if we would have won this tournament, we would have been
Oh
like, oh, well, we
my.
can win the World Cup because
Yeah.
we beat Mexico with our B and C squad. Like I said, you can't have it both ways where it's like, it's just I don't know. It's so
It's 0
annoying.
or
It's just
100. There's no
yeah,
logical thinking
so
when it comes to
frustrating.
this team. Like all the pundits are like they're either burying them or lifting them up on the highest mountain ever. Like there's no in between. There's no like
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty decent, but like yeah, we're not getting it done against the teams we need to. Like it's all just like yeah, we better figure stuff out. We're a sinking ship or you're completely right. If we won this tournament, they would have been like, "Holy crap, guys, we're gonna win the whole freaking thing." It's like, nah. It's not. It's not like that. It's not like
Right. Yeah, and that's just I don't know. That just frustrates me to no end that like, at the beginning of the tournament, it's like, oh, we'll see. It's not really. This isn't really our real team. And
that.
then like
So
by
annoying.
semifinals, we're in the final. We're like, oh, well, we're the best in the world now. Like what? Are they push? Is this squad pushing out the A team players?
No.
And then we lose in the final, and it's back to like, oh, well, we didn't really have our true
Yeah.
team. Like this
Excuses.
isn't really a true test or whatever. We'll see what we do in these friendlies and blah blah. But yeah, just like super frustrating overall to hear just how the media treats everything, and also just not giving even Mexico their deserved plaudits either, because obviously they played really well. They might be again one of those upset teams in the World Cup. They're playing on home soil as well. Like it's a big World Cup for them. They've got a
Yeah.
huge prospect, it looks like, on the horizon. They got a couple world class players in there, so we'll see what they're able to put together too. But obviously that was really drawn out part about the U.S. men's national team and about the Gold Cup in general, just because we have a lot of opinions on that. But we'll move on to the Club World Cup. Getting to the business end now of the Club World Cup.
Yes,
Actually had some
sir.
good games here in the quarters and semis here.
Mm-hmm.
Start out with the quarters. We left you guys a little bit of a preview into those games, but Fluminense beating Al Hilal 2-1. Al Hilal coming off a really good Club World Cup season where they beat Manchester City, getting pretty far. Quarters is pretty impressive for them. Really sad images coming out of that in the moment of silence before the game for Ruben Neves and Raul Cancelo. But they ended up putting together a really good game, but ultimately not to be against Thiago Silva-led Fluminense, who's had
Yes,
a
sir.
incredible tournament for them. Palmeiras losing to Chelsea 2-1. Again, really good game here. I did not watch this one live, but I did watch some of the highlights. Another Brazilian team that's done really well. Kind of taking Chelsea right to the end there. I think Chelsea were up 2-0, but Palmeiras making it hard for them in the end, and Chelsea really having to scrap to win that one. And the other two games were kind of the some of the European big boys coming to town. PSG Bayern. I watched a lot of this one just because it was on the 4th of July weekend and everything.
Mhm.
PSG going down to 9 men, but still, they still put up an incredibly impressive performance,
Yeah.
winning it 2-0. Just kind of just incredible team, this PSG squad. I could see them being good for a long, long time. Very sad news coming out of the Bayern camp, though. Jamal Musiala breaking his ankle, one of those
Brutal.
disgusting things where you see it turn all the way around backwards.
Ah,
As soon as I when I watched that live, I was like, that was pretty hard for Donovan, just like taking his legs out right there. Obviously, he
yeah.
got the ball. I had no problem with it, but I was like, he went in pretty hard right there. Like there's a defender right there, but then like everybody started surrounding him. I was like, oh boy. And I saw the
Uh,
first review. I was like, oh, he's cooked, dude. He's
yeah.
cooked.
Yeah.
Expected to miss at least 7 months, but not sure if you watched this game or not. But very, very impressive performance from PSG against a strong Bayern team.
Yeah, I didn't watch this game. I saw you texting me, and as soon as you were texting me, I looked stuff up about Musiala, dude, and the image. I just feel so bad for him. He just got back from an injury that he was dealing with for a while, and then to have this happen, gonna be out for most of next season, if not all.
Yeah.
Just because the recovery from that, like dislocation and broken leg, like
Yeah, and
the
ligament damage.
and
That's
ligament.
the big thing.
That's the big thing. And what I'm worried about, I mean, still young, when you're young, you heal differently, but like, I just hope this is something that like doesn't hinder his potential because
Yeah,
he's like, he's still a youngster. Like, he's
yeah.
well known now, but like, he really broke onto the scene and then just stayed on the scene, up to this point. Like, really good on the ball. Just one of those golden
He
boys
missed
that,
most of last season too.
yeah, just one of those golden boys that has met that potential and like just getting better every year. So huge,
Yeah,
huge loss for Bayern, huge loss for Germany. Like, it's just he's gonna be he's gonna be struggling to get back before the World Cup too, and that's gonna be a huge loss watching him with
yeah.
Germany in the World Cup.
Yeah, that was kind of where he made his big announcement. I guess obviously coming off a good season from Bayern the year before, but the Euros last year is when he was really
Mm,
just carrying that Germany team. If it wasn't for a controversial again handball situation by Spain, might be talking about Germany as the Euros champion led by him. So, but yeah, very very sad stuff here. I think I texted you about this, but I don't think you texted back because you weren't even watching the game because you were golfing.
golfing.
But I remember texting a couple of my buddies watching this. I was like, dude, this ref definitely wants Bayern to go through. And it's definitely like hate watching PSG. Like the dude, the first red card, like whatever, I can live with that.
Mhm.
It was just kind of a whatever 50-50. Like the Pacho was being really physical and everything. But the second one, like Hernandez had been in like 5 minutes
Yeah,
and like he threw his elbow up, like, yeah, but like it wasn't like he was like trying to kill the guy. Like he could have
yeah.
gotten away with the yellow there, but sent him off straight red. And I was like, bruh.
Yeah, straight red. I watched the replay of that and I was like, we're giving red
I
cards for
know,
that
dude.
now? What are
That's
we
what
doing?
that's when I texted folks. I was like, dude, this guy, he does not want PSG to go. But
No.
I absolutely loved that PSG, like, obviously you can just pack the box there, and they kind of did. But then they just ran down to the other side and just bagged that second goal.
Yeah.
Dembele just like slotted that thing. Like, that was so nice, bro. So obviously PSG are just an absolute wagon. We'll get into their semifinal tie here in just a moment, but really, really good game, just end to end stuff. Just a game that you don't really expect to see in the middle of the summer. So very good game there. And then Real Madrid and Dortmund playing here. Dortmund always that team, man, that kind of
Oh, is that team?
pretty late quarters, semis appearances, but never quite there. But they did have a pretty good game. Madrid being up for most of this or all of this game, I should say. Dortmund a little bit of a late surge there. I'm not sure if you watched the highlights of this game, but Dortmund, bro, like, did you see the Courtois save in the very last minute of the game? Where
Mm,
Sabitzer had a really nice volley down to a corner and he
yeah.
just pulled it out of nowhere. Like I was like, bro, that is
Yeah.
a massive world class save there. So Madrid looking a little shaky there towards the end, but ultimately get the dub here, 3-2, despite playing with 10 men as well. What's your opinion on this game?
Yeah, I mean, like we always say, Dortmund's kind of like always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
You know, saying
Can't quite do it. It always seems to be against Real Madrid too.
yeah,
Like Real Madrid just has like that aura, like that magical whatever when it comes to like especially the Champions League. Dortmund
yeah,
does too. Like it doesn't matter what's going on in their league, they're always like in the final stages of the Champions League, final stages of these tournaments. Just can't find a way. And I guess that's kind of what you expect when all you do is you sell all your good players. So you're always going to kind of just be like that team that you have good players for a season, but can't quite put it together for long stretches of time. No
yeah,
continuity, but yeah, I mean Real Madrid moving on definitely.
yeah.
I personally like Dortmund a lot, so it's hard
Hmm.
to watch them always come up short in games like these.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Madrid, like I said, playing with 10 men there at the end. Dean Heisen, who's kind of been this big time, just kind of a diamond in the rough kind of signing. Obviously, they paid a decent amount for him coming from Bournemouth, but yeah, he's definitely had a really, really good tournament there in the back with Rudiger. Him getting a red in the 96th minute really came back to bite them in the semis, which we'll get into in just a second. But that was a huge, huge loss for them going into the semis. But moving on to the semis now, Chelsea and Fluminense. Chelsea, pretty comfortable victory here, 2-0 against Fluminense. I feel like Fluminense kind of just running out of gas a little bit here. They've obviously put up some
Yeah.
incredible performances, playing above their level, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
just to get to that point. And they just kind of met a Chelsea team that was a little bit maybe more used to bigger games and maybe a little bit more fresh as well, as they're a little bit deeper than Fluminense is. But pretty comfortable 2-0 victory here for the men in blue. Did you watch your Chelsea boys here in the semis, or were you too busy doing other things like golf?
I was too busy again. It's also on that weird network that I
The
have to like
zone.
pull my phone up and like sign into every time. I just don't have quick access to it. But
Yeah.
I did
Joel
watch some.
Pedro looking pretty good.
I was gonna say that was my biggest takeaway is João Pedro looking really good. Obviously, I know it's against like a Brazilian side and it's the Club World Cup, so everyone's kind of just like, it doesn't matter all that. But no, really happy to see someone putting some goals in because that's what we were lacking last year. Even from Cole Palmer late in the season, like just wasn't like the goal prowess wasn't quite there. Really hoping that Palmer wasn't a flash in the pan because if he is, then we really got
Dude.
nobody. I guess we're just gonna have to buy all of Brighton just to figure out our squad at this point. But
Right.
we're now really excited by what João Pedro's doing for sure.
Yeah. You always love to see a signing kind of
Do well.
get signed and immediately bagging goals. And he actually grew up at Fluminense. That was his boyhood club.
Mm-hmm.
So he was
Yep.
there until 2019 when he got bought by he got brought over to the Premier League. But don't mean to hate on Chelsea, but like, is there an easier path here for Chelsea to get to a Club
We're
World
gonna
Cup
get
final,
smoked.
bro?
We're gonna get
Like,
smoked.
bro, the paths to the final have been incredibly different, I should say.
Yeah.
Chelsea in the Club World Cup, they played teams. They played LAFC, got beat by Flamengo, who was actually a good side, and then you played Tunis, destroyed Benfica, Palmeiras, and then Fluminense. Obviously, we're talking about the Brazilian teams being pretty good, but
Yeah.
when they're going up against a big time side like Chelsea, you expect them to win for sure here. So I'm not saying it's like a cakewalk because obviously it's a Club World Cup, anything can happen. But
Yeah.
PSG had Atletico Madrid, lost to Botafogo, played Inter Miami with Messi and all of them. Like whatever, they're not quite as
Oh,
good,
big
but
time.
and then they had Bayern and then Real Madrid. So they had definitely had a little bit of a tougher task
Yeah.
getting to this final here. But we will move it on to the PSG side of the bracket, playing Real Madrid. I was hyped for this game. I was like, bro, this is going to be, battle of the giants and everything. But PSG showing who the true giant is. 4-0, just a shellacking, bro. Like 3
Dude.
goals coming in the first like 20, 25 minutes of the game. Absolutely running riot through that Madrid defense. Raul Asensio, who really came on last season as being kind of maybe an up and coming defender, Sergio Ramos type. Absolutely horrid game for him. Yeah, PSG just they they put pressure on from the very first minute, and Real Madrid could not hang. Just kind of putting the same scoreline that the Inter Miami did on the PSG. So, what do you got to say here about PSG just running rampant through Madrid's defense here?
Yeah, dude. You were texting me during this game. I was obviously at work, or just I wasn't watching like I usually do. But I told you this over the phone, and I feel like it's a decent take. But they remind me, PSG reminds me of like Oklahoma City in the NBA.
Yeah,
Like young core, as long as the ownership doesn't mess it up, good pieces around them. They have like one or two veterans in key spots that really like anchor them, keep them centered, and keep them going in the right direction. Why not PSG for the next 5 years? Why not? Like,
maybe.
great coach, great young players, like I just said. Like, I just see this going well. They're on their way, and tell me that they're not going to do this, but they're. Is it the what's it called when I think you win all six trophies? I think only 2 other squads have done it, and they're amazing squads. Flick's Bayern, which was crazy good, and then Pep's Barcelona. Like, to be in that conversation, and who do they got to beat? They got to beat Chelsea. We're getting rolled, and then freaking Spurs in the freaking Super Cup. Like, how do they not do that? Yeah. Like, it's just, they're so good, man. They're so good. I'm like really worried about this final. I could see it being another Real Madrid situation, but like all with the games that they keep winning, they just get more confident and more confident and more. They're going to go into this game and go, we just beat Real Madrid 4-0 with Mbappe and Vinny and all them playing. What means we can't beat Chelsea 6-0? Like, they're not scared of anybody at this point. Like, and that's just
really not.
Yeah, they're just gonna rattle it off. They're maybe what we thought Real Madrid was gonna be, and obviously that's a whole nother story. I was listening to some people talk about,
Crazy,
maybe Mbappe's the problem.
I don't think he's the problem. I think Vinny Jr. is the problem, but we'll get to them in a second. I completely agree with the PSG side. Like, I think even they do complete this sextuple here, I think it's more impressive than Bayern and Barca's teams, just because the Club World Cup now is way harder than it was before. Whereas before, like, you play, like, especially the European teams, they get like just a one-off, basically, or maybe 2 games where they just kind of play some scrub teams. Like, you're actually having to play real teams now in the Club World Cup. It's a whole tournament now. You got to travel. It's after a long season, so that's obviously harder. And there's just way more games now and everything, so you can make a case that it's even harder than maybe some of those squads had it for sure. But yeah, I mean, PSG is just incredible. Like I was texting you after the game too. Like, they have just incredible players, like at every position, like at the very minimum world class, like if not the best at their position. Like Nuno Mendes, best in his position right now. Donnarumma, you can make a case for best in his position. Vitinha, who's better at him in the midfield right
Nobody.
now? Ousmane Dembele, I understand he's not maybe like, Erling Haaland or like maybe quite the level of Mbappe, but he's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or here coming up soon. Obviously, that's a product of who he has around him, but obviously the wingers that they have, they go 2 and 3 deep on both sides too. Barcola, Desiree Doué, like it just goes on and on. So just world class at every single position. And just like every single player, bro, the technicality that they have and then the athleticism to pair, absolutely incredible. Like João Neves, who like extremely underrated player, can play anywhere. He can rival the technicality of even Vitinha. Like, obviously Vitinha's a next level, like world class, best in his position, but like the wingers on outside, extremely technical players. They have skills, they have speed. The pressure that they put on, bro, like that. They were up 3-0 against Madrid, and Dembele was still pressing like it was like the 5th minute, and that's why they keep putting up these insane numbers. Is because all of their players buy in, all of their players press, all of their players are recovering for other players' positions when they're out of position. And that's something that they lacked, like, especially with that big 3 when they have Messi and Neymar and Mbappe, especially Neymar and Messi. Like, they weren't tracking back. They would walk, bro. They would walk in the middle of the field. That's why the PSG were so bad with that quote-unquote super team that they had. So I think it's absolutely incredible what PSG is doing. I think that they're levels above basically every team in Europe right now. I don't think they quite roll Chelsea maybe quite as bad as some of the other teams. I think they probably roll Spurs, to be honest.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, what they're doing now is really incredible, and I think that they're gonna be dangerous for a couple of seasons here. I don't maybe not 5 years because some teams will figure them out in different games. Sometimes they'll be on, sometimes they won't, but they're so deep and they have so many ways to beat you. And again, they buy in, so it's incredible to watch for sure. But what you mentioned a little bit earlier about Madrid, bro, like as a Madrid guy, like I don't think my Mbappe is as much the problem. Like we were talking at the end of this season, like despite playing out of position as a striker, individually he had a really good season. He's still back 30 goals. I think the main problem is Vinicius, bro. Like ever since basically he got snubbed from that Ballon d'Or, doesn't care, walks around. He doesn't have the burst anymore. He doesn't want to like. I just feel like the desire is lost. Like you watch him play, and it's just like he's not pressing. He's not doing any of the things that he used to do, and I feel like that's really just hurt the team. And I feel like it's the reason that he's out on left wing instead of Mbappe is just like, oh, Vinny, you were here first. Like, you have the 7 shirt first. Like, it's kind of like one of those things instead of like being like, all right, we're going to move one of the best players in the world and Mbappe out to left wing and see what he can cook and maybe move some of the other players around rather than catering to Vinny. Because even when we bought Mbappe, bro, I was like, I wouldn't even be mad if we sold Vinicius Jr. And that was when he was playing well. So I think Vinicius Jr. is more the problem than anything else. I think our lack of defenders is also hurting us a lot too. Obviously, we have just 1 or 2 good defenders. Then after that, we're super thin. So we got to get some guys back. Maybe even buy another defender this year. But yeah, I'm not sure if you agree with that assessment of Madrid or not. But PSG absolute wagon.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a little bit of PSG-esque with having Mbappe and Vinny both not putting in shifts defensively.
Yeah,
that's just going to make any team worse. Like if you're not moving as a cohesive unit, especially on the defensive end, teams are going to score on you. Like you're going to put pressure on unneeded pressure that shouldn't be there on a team that's already struggling. So, yeah, whether you want to blame Mbappe, he's the easy one to point to. Just looking at like the team that he came from is having success now. That's why people want to point at him. But like you can point at multiple people, Vinny, Mbappe. I mean, yeah, it's just hard to win when no one's tracking back.
Yeah, and that too, like with PSG, bro, like it's so fluid and like fun to watch. Like it's smooth, it's pretty. Like it's not like clunky. There's no.
It looks like what we grew up watching.
Yeah, for sure. And like Hakimi, bro, again, another guy, best in the world at his position right now. Like just what he barely makes a bad pass or a bad touch like all game. And it's incredible to watch. And like just with the different teams, I guess, that are around now, you just don't see that as much anymore. Where every single player is like locked in. They have good touch. They have good passes.
Yeah,
always on the ground. It's always pass and move. It's incredible to watch. And like I feel like PSG have a lot of haters because it's oil money club, whatever. But when the football's that pretty, bro, like it's hard to hate.
Man.
For sure.
It is hard to hate. Yeah, absolutely. I love watching them. I used to be a PSG hater because it was the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It was always easy to just be like, why haven't you won a Champions League? You literally have Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi on the same team. Like, you should never lose a game.
Yeah. And I love what you said that it's what we used to watch. Like, if you – so I've been doing this summer, just watching highlights. But, like, if you watch, like, for example, Man United, 08, 09, like, if you watch that, or, like, basically any of the big teams back then, bro, like, it was very similar to that. Maybe not quite up to PSG's level, but it was, like, it was passing, it was moving, it was smooth. Like, if you watch Wayne Rooney highlights from back then, bro, like, just the player that he was, absolutely incredible. But what's your prediction here for a little PSG Chelsea in the final on Sunday?
Oh, a little prediction. All right, here we go. I already
5-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say I already kind of tipped my hand with them getting rolled. I think we get one. I definitely
get one.
Our youth will help us out for sure.
But they're youthful too.
I mean, that's why I'm saying it won't be that bad. Like I watched the Real Madrid game. Yes, PSG like was rolling them, but like there was like a mistake by Rudiger in the back. Like he was caught on the ball because Mendes
That
just like
press,
was
bro.
on top of him like before
Yep.
he could even think. So
Yep.
I feel like our youth in that sense will help, but I still think it's like 3-1, 4. I'm gonna go just because it's Chelsea. I'm gonna be a little generous. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, yeah, 5-1. But I'm gonna say 3-1, and obviously PSG wins. That's what I'm gonna go with. 3-1 PSG.
Interesting. I'll go 3-0 PSG.
3-0 PSG.
PSG have only conceded 1 goal all tournament. I thought that them losing Pacho to that red card in the semifinals was going to hurt them, but no, they had that Brazilian center back that just stepped in, absolutely brilliant against a Madrid attack that was still good. Obviously not great, but still good on the day, even though they weren't able to score.
Right.
So I'll say 3-0 PSG. So very impressed with
3-0.
PSG overall. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea scored though. Like maybe get something
Yeah.
early,
Something
get the
lucky.
juices flowing. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do have PSG winning this. Obviously, no shocker there. So
Yeah. It's absolutely going to end up being the combined total of our scores. It's going to be like 6-1. It's just going to happen. But yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
no, it's
3-0,
possible.
3-1. PSG winning on Sunday. Definitely going to tune into that game now that I don't have a crap ton of stuff going on. But I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod finally.
Finally, yeah, ran a little bit long with the soccer segment of this podcast, but again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in this week. Going to start being a little more consistent, especially with less sports going on. A little easier to throw these pods together. Not too many holidays coming up in the foreseeable future. The rest of the summer, unfortunately. But we would appreciate if you guys would like and subscribe on this video. That would help us out a lot. Go over to Apple Podcast and Spotify, follow and leave a review there. That helps push us out to other people and get us on other people's homepages and just help them discover the podcast. But with that being said, we will catch you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.